Have you ever had that strange feeling that something just isn't right, even though everything looks perfect on the surface? You can't explain it, but deep down, something feels off. That's how it often begins with a covert female narcissist. She doesn't storm in with arrogance or demand attention. She blends in, smiles, listens, cares, or so it seems. This kind of narcissism doesn't wear a crown, it wears a mask. And if you've ever walked away from a relationship feeling drained, confused, or like you lost yourself, this message is for you, because today we're going to walk through 10 hidden behaviors that don't scream for attention, but quietly sabotage your emotional well-being. And it all starts where most love stories begin, with intense, irresistible attraction. At first, it feels like a dream. The chemistry is overwhelming. The way she touches you, looks at you, pulls you into her world. It's intoxicating. You might think, finally someone who sees me, who wants me with that kind of fire. But here's the part few talk about. Sometimes that intense passion isn't love. It's a tactic. For many covert female narcissists, hypersexuality isn't just about desire. It's a tool, a fast track to emotional bonding, a shortcut to control. And in those early days, it works. You feel chosen, special, desired in a way that rewrites your idea of connection. But this phase isn't built to last. Once she feels you're emotionally invested, the warmth begins to fade. Touch turns cold. Affection disappears, and you're left questioning what changed and what you did wrong. This emotional whiplash is no accident. It creates confusion, self-doubt, and a craving to win back that lost intensity. Exactly what keeps you tied to her. So before we move on, ask yourself, was the passion real or rehearsed? Just when you start to feel the distance, something shifts again. She showers you with compliments, not just a few kind words, waves of admiration. You're the most incredible person I've ever met. No one understands me like you do. I've never felt this connected to anyone. And suddenly you're back in the light, back in her orbit. But what if that glow isn't real? What if it's just another layer of the mask? Covert female narcissists often use excessive praise to hook their partners emotionally. Especially when you're feeling unsure, when you're vulnerable. The compliments feel like medicine, reassurance that you still matter, that the magic is still alive, but the intensity is the giveaway. It's not just love, it's strategy. Because the more you rely on her approval to feel worthy, the more power she gains. Eventually, the compliments slow. They disappear, and you're left chasing the high, desperate for her validation, just to feel whole again. If love feels like a reward you have to earn, it might not be love at all. It starts subtly. A look, a phrase, then suddenly you're her everything, her soulmate, her perfect match, the person she's been searching for her whole life. And for a moment, you believe it too. Because who wouldn't want to be seen like that? But here's what's hidden beneath that intense admiration. Control disguised as worship. When a covert female narcissist idealizes you, it's not about who you truly are. It's about creating a fantasy, one where you play the role she's written for you. And the moment you step outside that script, cracks begin to form. This idealization isn't sustainable, and deep down you feel it. The pedestal she puts you on is fragile. One wrong word, one missed cue, and you start falling. The worst part? You begin to chase the version of yourself she created, hoping to be worthy again. But what happens when the praise stops and the criticism begins? That's where we're headed next. At first, it feels like concern. She just wants to spend more time with me. She doesn't trust my friends. Maybe she sees something I don't. But look closer. Slowly, the walls are moving in. One by one, the people in your life begin to feel distant. Friends, family, even your passions. She might not say, "I'm isolating you." Instead, it's subtle. A sigh when you mention dinner with friends. A quiet tear when you want a night alone. A small comment that plants doubt. Do they really care about you like I do? And over time, you believe it. Covert narcissists create dependence through isolation, not with force, but with guilt, distortion, and need. They make themselves your entire emotional world, so that losing them feels like losing everything. But here's the truth. If someone limits your world, it's not love. It's a slow-burning cage, and once you're inside, the next tactic tightens the grip even more without you even realizing it. You say something wrong, she pulls away. You apologize, she softens. You try to explain, she turns cold again. And so begins the emotional seesaw. One moment you feel adored, the next, invisible. She may cry, then accuse, hug you, then punish you with silence. It's a constant shift, and you never quite know where you stand. This isn't moodiness, it's orchestration. Covert female narcissists use emotion like a puppeteer uses strings. They exploit your empathy, twist your words, and blur your reality until you're not sure what's real anymore. And when you react, they call you too sensitive or say, "I never said that." So you question yourself. You try harder. You shrink. This is how they keep control, not by domination, but by distortion. If love feels like walking on glass barefoot, unsure, if today will be warmth or withdrawal, that's not love, that's conditioning. And the next phase, it gets colder, sharper. The pedestal is gone, and the teardown begins. One day she looks at you, and the sparkle is gone. That same person who once called you brilliant now questions your intelligence. The one who adored your smile now says it's a bit much. It's confusing. It's quiet. But it cuts deep. This is the devaluation phase, the moment the fantasy collapses and you become the target. She doesn't need to scream or insult. Sometimes it's just a tone, a raised eyebrow, a joke with sharp edges, but it chips away at you day by day. And because you once felt so loved, you start believing you're the one who changed. But you didn't. You were just never allowed to be human. Covert narcissists need to feel superior. And tearing down the image they built of you isn't just punishment, it's power. And here's the cruel twist: after the destruction, they disappear, but not in the way you expect. Just when you think it can't get more confusing, she pulls away, not with a fight, not with closure, just absence. Texts go unanswered. Her warmth fades into cold indifference. You wonder, did I do something? And that's exactly the point. Covert. Female narcissists withdraw not to leave, but to punish, to destabilize, to leave you grasping for pieces of a puzzle she never planned to complete. Sometimes it's physical distance. Other times it's emotional silence while she pretends everything's fine. Either way, you're left in a fog, grieving something that technically isn't over, but emotionally feels abandoned. This tactic isn't a goodbye, it's a leash. Because just when you begin to let go, she might return, suddenly kind again, resetting the cycle. But what happens when you're blamed for the very pain she caused? She cheats, then accuses you of lying. She pulls away, then claims you are emotionally distant. It's dizzying. This is one of the covert narcissist's sharpest tools, projection. Instead of taking responsibility, she casts her shadow onto you. And because you're already in a state of emotional confusion, you begin to doubt your memory, your truth, yourself. You might spend hours trying to defend yourself, explain, prove your intentions, while she plays the victim. Calm, wounded, misunderstood. It's not just manipulation, it's mental warfare. False accusations are designed to wear you down, make you question your judgment, and keep the focus off her behavior. The more you try to prove your innocence, the more control she gains, and if she starts telling others her version of the story, you'll find yourself isolated, in more ways than one. Let's look at how that unfolds. Before you even realize what's happening, the whispers begin. She says you were controlling. I heard you hurt her emotionally. People you trusted start pulling away, without explanation. That's the aftermath of a smear campaign. Covert. Female narcissists are masters at shaping narratives. She'll share half-truths, carefully edited stories, or outright lies with friends, family, co-workers, anyone who will listen. And she'll do it with conviction, playing the victim flawlessly. The goal isn't just to ruin your image, it's to isolate you further, to ensure that when you finally speak your truth, no one's left to hear it. It's a tactic of domination, through defamation, but it's also a sign. She's losing control over you and trying to regain it through them. And if you still don't conform, she might reach for her final, most aggressive form of control. When charm fails, when guilt doesn't work, and when the lies no longer hold, she tightens her grip. Not with love, but with fear. Suddenly, your mistakes aren't just mistakes. They become threats. If you leave, I'll tell everyone what you did. If you hurt me again, I don't know what I'll do. Covert female narcissists rarely scream, but their silence can be just as terrifying. Sometimes the threats are emotional. I'll disappear. You'll regret this. Sometimes they're strategic, spreading personal secrets, threatening legal action, or leveraging shared responsibilities. The goal is always the same: obedience, surrender, control. You stop speaking your truth, not because you've changed your mind, but because you're afraid of what might happen if you do. And this is where many people stay, frozen between fear and confusion. But here's the truth she never wanted you to hear. You can break this cycle. If any part of this felt familiar, I want you to know this. You're not crazy, you're not weak, you were manipulated, and now you're waking up. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward healing, toward reclaiming your voice, your strength, your truth. No one deserves to live in emotional captivity, especially not at the hands of someone who masked control as love. You are not what she made you feel. You are more. So breathe. You made it here. And from this moment on, you get to decide what your story becomes.